Hello everyone, GoldenNova here, and we are back. Now, Lightning Overdrive has a ton of cards and archetypes that have been revealed so far, and if the recent community poll is indicative of anything, thank you for everyone who voted by the way, it's that you all want to catch up on Ecclesia and Albaz to see how they're doing. But to avoid missing out on anything, we're gonna wait just a little bit longer for the rest of the set list to drop. See, I really want to avoid missing out on any info. A, because I'd hate to make my case for a particular storyline just to have more info drop and change everything, and B, I've been burnt by jumping the gun in the past. I've made +1s to help make up for incomplete lists, but I'd really rather get all the cards in one video. So today, instead of digging into Lightning Overdrive, we're going to go over all the cards I did miss, as well as any new additions that have been released for every theme I've covered over the course of this entire channel. It's time for the 2020 Release Roundup. But first, please consider liking and subscribing if you've enjoyed my content so far. We're on the road to 5,000 subs and you can help make it happen. I've got a very special explained video I want to do to celebrate, but I'll save the details for when we get to 3,000. We've also got a Discord where we've added Golden Ladybug to our list of beloved golden icons, and a Twitter where you can stay up to date on channel news and my bad takes. Thank you all for your patience, and now, back to the video. Let's start by taking things back. Way back to the very beginning of the channel. Dark Saviors was being spoiled, and while everyone else was wasting time poring over Sky Strikers, I focused on what really mattered: vampires. Sure, Striker had a lot of premier tops and was arguably one of the strongest decks ever printed, but vampires didn't get all their most important cards hit on the ban list, now did they? And bonus, they just got a new card that's releasing in the Selection 10 Special Booster Pack, Draculae Vampire, a level 8 Dark Zombie with 2800 attack and 2100 defense. If they're normal summoned, you can target up to 2 monsters in your opponent's grave and special summon them to your field in defense position, but their effects are negated. When a monster effect is activated, and a monster with the same name is in either grave, you can negate the activation. Lastly, if a monster card or cards are special summoned from your opponent's grave, you contribute 2 monsters to special summon Dracula. That is a lot of effects, and it's actually a lot better than I'd initially given it credit for. Being able to take 2 monsters from your opponent's grave is pretty neat, especially since you can use them to make Dampier if they have levels, but since you can only resolve it on a normal summon, you have to invest some pretty hefty tribute fodder for it. Unless you have Zombie World and Vampire Sucker on field, which lets you use your opponent's zombie monsters as fodder for tribute summons, and that is really cool, but it does require a lot of setup to be effective. Its negation, I felt, was very situational. Having to match a monster effect with the name engrave felt like a stretch, but Dracula doesn't care where the monster effect is activated, so it can actually just negate any graveyard trigger, or hand traps that discard as cost. Looking at it like this, being able to negate other things is just icing on the cake. Its revival effect, though, is admittedly pretty lame. Even though Sucker can force the conditions for activation because they can summon from your opponent's grave, you can't tribute your opponent's monsters for the revival effect, so you should probably just stick to using Mizuki. However, despite all the cool things it can do, it won't be revolutionizing the theme anytime soon. In a deck that already has a lot of high-level monsters, what we really needed was enablers. I had a lot of high hopes, but this gorgeous Castlevania character's got me crying bloody, bloody tears.
Oh, I'm making it.
No,
yeah.
Stop it. Go sit down. Don't record this. Go sit down.
Hey, don't you?
Love you too. This will never make it in the video, but I'm putting this out here right now. GoldenNova is a f***ing putting in bloody tears. F*** you.
It's okay. Have you seen the artwork for this?
Yeah, I have. It's actually it's on the card. It's beautiful.
No, yeah, and that's like the actual they don't credit obviously, but that's the person who makes the Castlevania art.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love it.
You.
I love you. Next, we have Nemesis Keystone, a level 1 Earth Rock monster with 700 attack and 0 defense. Like the rest of their ilk, you can target one of your banished monsters and shuffle it into your deck to summon Keystone from your hand. And if Keystone itself is banished, you can add it back to your hand during the end phase if it was banished that turn. This is a really important inclusion for the theme itself, as it essentially keeps your cards in rotation as you banish them for your arch nemesis. And it's also found a home in mutants, as you can banish it for your tiny mutants to summon Beast, and then it'll come back to your hand at the end phase, allowing you to banish it turn after turn. It's not terribly noteworthy, but to the right strategy, it's the key to victory. The next card we have is... oh hey, I know who can help out with this. Hey, Eldritch. Eldritch!
What insufferable task do you have for me this time?
I just thought you'd like to show off.
Huh? Oh yes, my advanced form is quite a sight to behold, is it not? El Rey Conquista Eldritch is a level 10 light zombie fusion monster with 3800 attack and 3500 defense, requiring one Eldritch monster, yours truly, and any level 5 or higher zombie. While on the field, El Rey is treated as Eldritch the Golden Lord, important for triggering the effects of your Golden Lord trap monsters, and cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. You can also tribute a zombie monster, then target a face-up monster your opponent controls, which you then take control of, though it can't attack or activate its effects that turn. Now, you could use super polymerization in conjunction with Zombie World to make me while taking an opponent's monster, but I have my own technique for that. 7 Realms of the Golden Land is a continuous spell that you can activate to fusion summon any fusion monster, but all the materials must be zombie monsters in your hand and on your field. Also, if a zombie monster or monsters are special summoned by a card effect, you can target a set spell or trap on the field and keep it from being activated that turn, preventing it from ruining your game plan. On top of that, since it's a Golden Land card, it can easily be searched and activated by banishing an Eldlixir from the grave, so you'll always have easy access to it.
Wow, that's crazy. Think they'll see a lot of play?
Honestly, no. Not to diminish my golden reputation, but decks that I roll with tend to be control-oriented, leveraging my powerful removal and ease of access to muscle opponents out of games while being a reliable and efficient resource engine, leaving these kinds of larger, flashier plays to whatever I'm working alongside of, like AA Zeus.
Huh, that's a shame. But hey, thanks for stopping by.
Fuck off and die, I'll see you in a few months.
What a charming fellow. Next, we have a few machina cards. Resavager is a level 4 dark machine with 1200 attack and 1800 defense. As a quick effect, you can send them from your hand or field to the grave to target one of your machinas and boost their attack by 1200 until the end of the turn. Also, if a machina destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can add Resavager from your grave to your hand, so it's recyclable. Not only will this help give you a little extra boost to push past larger monsters, you can boost the attack of a monster to make it even more effective for Citadel's board wipe effect. We also have Unkrispar, a level 4 dark machine with 1800 attack and 800 defense. If they're added to your hand except by drawing, you can special summon them from your hand. Also, you can't special summon for the rest of the turn except for machine monsters. And if they're normal or special summoned, you can send a machina from your deck to your grave. This sniper retrain is absolutely bonkers. You can special summon them after searching them with redeployment, and you can send Citadel with their effect to set it up to be summoned later, or send Resavager to get it back later. This may sound like a shot in the dark, but this is the kind of starter and extender that can put a deck in meta contention. And while this next card isn't a machina, it does feature prominently on every dark machina monster so far. Unauthorized Boot Up Device is a level 1 Dark Machine Union monster with 500 attack and 0 defense. They do all the typical Union stuff, and if they're destroyed and sent to the grave while equipped to a monster, you can special summon Boot Up Device. So if it survives until your turn, you can just pop it right back onto your monster. Or you can attach it to a monster you plan to blow up with Citadel, Boot Up keeps it alive, and then when it revives itself, you can just attach it again, no biggie. It also looks like one of those big Reaver bots from Mega Man Legends, and I'm just gonna love anything that looks like that. Next is Rika Queen Strena, a rank 4 water planet Xyz monster with 2000 attack and defense, requiring any 2 level 4 monsters. You can detach a material to add any plant or Rika card from your grave to your hand, and if they get tributed while they have Xyz material, you can special summon a rank 5 or higher planet Xyz monster from your grave or extra deck and attach Strena to that Xyz monster as material. This gives you a ton of added value when using cards like Snowdrop, Mudon, or any of your Rika spells and traps, allowing you to make Kanzashi for cheap, or giving you access to removal like Araya. You can even get the new Plant Xyz and Blazing Vortex, Divine Tree Beast Hyperiton, which gives you some much needed negation. But despite all that, in the face of all the good it can do, you still can't use Strena to summon Millier of the... Infernoble Knight General Oliver is next, and they're a level 5 Fire Warrior Synchro monster with 2000 attack and 500 defense, requiring generic material. When they declare an attack, as long as General Oliver is equipped in some way, you can target and destroy a card on the field. Also, if they're in the grave, but not on the turn that they're sent to the grave, you can target a warrior you control, then special summon General Oliver to the field as a tuner, then equip the monster you targeted as an equip card that grants 500 attack, making them a respectable 2500. It's a pretty cool addition that grants you some inevitability. Having a monster that can revive almost for free every turn while providing removal whenever they attack is a great way to ensure you win the game if it drags on long enough. And who knows, now that Smoke Grenade and Link Cross are out of the format, they may be looking for a new power play to fill the ranks. No, wait, ranks are for the original Noble Knights. I need to rethink this outro.
Blaze Cannon is a quick play spell.
Whoa, hey, nuh-uh. No murdering out of you today.
Oh, come on, it'll be fun. Besides, you let the gold-plated geriatric talk about his card, but you won't let me talk about mine.
Fine, fine. But the second you're done, you're out of here.
Blaze Cannon is the signature spell of the Winged Dragon of Ra. It's a quick play spell, and it's also always treated as a Blaze Accelerator card, because for some reason I'm forced to share design space with Pain 96. Anyway, when it resolves, you grant one Winged Dragon of Ra you control 3 effects until the end of the turn, and much like the signature spells of the other 2 Egyptian gods found in the Prismatic God box, Blaze Cannon's effect and activation cannot be negated. First, Ra becomes unaffected by your opponent's card effects. Second, when an attack is declared involving that Winged Dragon of Ra, you contribute any monsters you control who haven't declared an attack to grant their combined original attack to Ra until the end of the turn. And lastly, after damage calculation, if Ra attacked, you can send all monsters your opponent controls to the grave, making the most powerful of the gods even more powerful!
Whew, there we go. Glad we got that out of the way. Joyous Melfi is a rank 2 Earth Beast Xyz monster with 2000 attack and 500 defense, requiring 2 or more level 2 beast monsters. You can detach a material to let all your Melfis attack directly that turn. Also, during your opponent's turn, as a quick effect, you can target a Beast Xyz monster you control, return them to the extra deck, then special summon level 2 or lower beasts from your grave, up to the number of Xyz material that monster had while it was on the field. Finally, a proper win condition. Previously, you had to stack a whole lot of material onto Melfi Mommy, and either burn your opponent with their 5+ ability, or unload it all with Melfi Playhouse to bounce your opponent's field, then swing in with a bunch of Xyz beasts for game, but both of those were pretty resource intensive. A little interruption went a long way to stopping those plans. But with Joyous, you can consistently chip in for 2000 damage a turn, then transform those Xyz monsters into your regular Melfis to help rebuild your resources. It's a joy to have around. Zoroa, the Magistus of Flame, is the mysterious 4th member of the Magistus crew. Once per turn, you can target a Magistus you control, and equip a Magistus from your extra deck to that target. And you'll want to target Zoroa themselves, because whenever they do become equipped with a Magistus monster card, you can special summon a level 4 spellcaster from your hand or grave in defense position, but their effects are negated. Zoroa is an integral piece to the puzzle, as they not only function as an easy way to equip your Magistus with your extra deck arsenal, but they can also summon extra material to use for actually summoning those monsters, instead of treating your extra deck as a pile of equip cards. And it adds nothing substantial to the lore all by itself. It's the only Magistus we don't have a history for, and if Lightning Overdrive doesn't have any more good clues to go on, I'm gonna be seeing red hot with anger. Live Twin lil-la Treat is a level 2 dark zombie with 500 attack and 0 defense. If you control a Kiss a Kill, you can special summon them from your hand, and if anyone takes battle damage from any battle involving an evil twin, you can banish Treat lil-la from your grave, then target a face-up monster your opponent controls, and they lose attack equal to that damage permanently. This is just a solid addition to the theme. The deck needs more main deck monsters, and one that just summons from your hand to assist in link climbing or to make another rank 2 is pretty neat. My only complaint here is that until they release Kiss a Kill Trick, I'm gonna be pulling my hair out. Why did they not print the obvious other half here? Why do you torture me, Konami? The last few cards are all new additions to the Fossil theme, and the first one is Flint Cragger. They're a level 4 Earth Rock monster with 800 attack and 1600 defense, and if they're special summoned, you can discard a card to send a Fossil Fusion monster from your extra deck to the grave. If they're sent from the field to the grave, you can burn your opponent for 500 damage, then if Fossil Fusion is in your grave, you can take a banished Fossil Fusion, or a card with Fossil Fusion in its effect text, and return it to your grave. This is interesting, to say the least. It'll help you recycle the banishing effects of cards like Skullgar, Skull Knight, and Skullbone, and you can use the special summon effect to set them up in the first place, with that Emancipator Signs being a great enabler. So yeah, Flint Cragger's alright, but it's nothing compared to...
Hey, so this part was supposed to have a joke about how, Flint Cragger sounds kind of like the aggro crag from the famous kids programming block Nickelodeon Guts. But I couldn't find a clip of the announcer saying it in a particularly fun or exciting way, so just if you were a 90s kid, laugh right now, and this segment will go a lot smoother, okay? Thanks.
Next is Shell Knight, a level 4 Earth Rock monster with 0 attack and 2000 defense. When normal summoned, you can change them to defense position to burn your opponent for 500. Very fancy. If the knight is destroyed by battle or sent to the grave by a card effect, say with something like Miracle Rupture, you can add a level 8 rock monster from your deck to your hand, unless you have Fossil Fusion in your grave, in which case you can special summon that monster, but in either case, you can't activate cards or the effects of cards with the same name as the card you searched. We don't have a ton of targets for this. Here are all the main deck level 8 rocks in the game. We can go ahead and knock off Block Dragon until it's unbanned, and these are all the ones left over after we've taken out all the ones we can't special summon. Now, none of these cards really help fossils, but it does give me an excuse to talk about Gaia Plate the Earth Giant. It was brought up in the comments of the fossil video that I overlooked it despite it being used by Jim Crocodile Cook and... well, yeah, it's not a fossil card, it's just generic rock support. But I suppose I won't be doing a Rock Monsters Explained anytime soon, so now is as good a time as any. Gaia Plate is a level 8 Earth Rock monster with 2800 attack and 1000 defense, and you can special summon them from your hand by banishing 2 rocks from your grave. You have to banish another rock from your grave during each of your standby phases as a maintenance cost, otherwise Gaia Plate gets sent to the grave. But if they battle anything, the opponent's monster's attack and defense are halved permanently. And what I find most interesting is that if you summon or search them off of Shell Knight, it doesn't affect their playability at all. Their inherent summon isn't an effect, so we're clear there, and the battle trigger has no semicolon, the stats are just halved, so it's a shell of a pick to summon with your new knight. Your opponent's gonna have a lot on their plate. Now it's time for the new fusions. Fusions. Now it's time for the new fusions. Fossil Machine Skull Buggy is a level 4 Earth Rock fusion monster with 1400 attack and 1200 defense, requiring 1 rock in your grave and a level 4 or lower monster. When Skull Buggy destroys a monster by battle, you can burn your opponent for 600 damage. You can also banish the buggy from your grave to add any monster that specifically lists Fossil Fusion in its effect text from your deck to your hand. Something to note here is that while the Fossil Warriors don't care which graveyards you banish your material from, and the Fossil Dragons require the level monster to be from your opponent's grave, the Fossil Machines require the rock to be in your grave. Now, if you're running this deck, you probably have a box of rocks ready to use anyway, but it should be noted just in case you want to try and be Invoked Brained in the Adamancipator matchup. Anyway, this card is actually kinda lame. The burn isn't very impactful, and the monsters that have Fossil Fusion in their text are ones you'd much rather just send to the grave with Miracle Rupture. It feels less like a feature of the archetype and more like a buggy. Fossil Machine Skull Wagon is a level 6 Earth Rock fusion monster with 1700 attack and 1500 defense, requiring a rock in your grave and a level 5 or 6 monster. They can make 2 attacks a turn, and if they destroy a monster in battle, you can burn your opponent for 800 damage. Ooh, what an upgrade. You can also banish them from the grave to target and destroy a spell or trap on the field. Also, not really sold on this one either. 1700 is decent as far as attack goes, but if my only other effect is triggered by destroying monsters in battle, Shura the Blue Flame kinda set the standard back in 2009. I don't really feel like jumping on this particular bandwagon. The last card is Fossil Machine's Skull Convoy, and this is where things get good. They're a level 8 Earth Rock fusion monster with 2100 attack and 1800 defense, requiring a rock in grave and a level 7 or higher monster. While you control a fusion summoned Skull Convoy, all monsters your opponent controls lose attack equal to their original defense. Now that's what I'm talking about. On top of that, Convoy can attack 3 monsters per turn, and if they destroy a monster in battle, you burn your opponent for 1000 damage. I definitely want to use one of these mean machines in the deck moving forward. While the attack reduction isn't always going to be useful, namely against links and low defense monsters, taking care of those is what Skullgios is for. In fact, in most scenarios, I'm sure you'll still want to go into Skullgios if you can to close out games, but if you need to prune your opponent's field to keep them under control for following turns, I certainly wouldn't mind getting behind the wheel of this monster to get the job done. And that should get us all caught up on all the new additions to the themes I've explained so far. But now, I want to hear from all of you. Which one of these cards are you most looking forward to playing? And what archetype do you hope gets more support in the future? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, please make sure to like and subscribe. And if you know anyone else who you think would like this, please consider sharing this video with them. It really does make a huge difference. I'm so excited to see what Yu-Gi-Oh! Has in store for us in 2021, and I can't wait to share it with all of you. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Mackie just got onto the couch. Mackie just got onto the couch because she wants to voice act with Daddy, doesn't she? Yes, she does. Yes, she does.